In the farthest reaches of the Orion Arm, the Galactic Union of species thrived for millennia, a coalition of advanced civilizations that spanned the stars. Diplomacy, trade, and scientific collaboration were the lifeblood of the Union. Their collective knowledge grew beyond comprehension, but the costs were steep. No single species had known war for over 10,000 years, and military strength was relegated to historical records. Battles were fought in courtrooms, not on battlefields. The art of war had become a distant, ancient memory. The Union had catalogued countless worlds and species, each added to their archive like a jewel in their vast crown of cosmic dominion. And yet, there was one planet that had remained elusive, a blue-green speck orbiting a young sun on the outskirts of the galaxy. Humanity had long been invisible to the Galactic Union, but this was about to change. First Officer Kevrin Val, a member of the Haxori species, stood with his thin, six-fingered hands clasped behind his back. His large, multifaceted eyes stared out at the strange new planet from the bridge of the Union's flagship, Pax Solaris. "What do we know about this species?" Kevrin asked, his voice clicking through the syllables in the Haxori tongue, a language almost completely devoid of emotion. His colleague, Captain Zora, an Andrelian known for her analytical mind, brought up the data on her screen. "They call themselves humans. Their development is crude by our standards. They have barely escaped their planetary atmosphere a handful of times. Their communication relies on primitive electronic signals, and their understanding of physics borders on infantile." Kevrin's mandibles twitched. "And yet, they've survived." Captain Zora nodded. "Survived indeed. Their world is violent, chaotic. They've overcome diseases, natural disasters, and even conflicts amongst themselves. More importantly, they've developed technology at an alarming rate. In the span of a few centuries, they've gone from riding beasts to creating machines that break the sound barrier." "A sound, barbaric," Kevrin said, tilting his head. "Have they mastered the warp drive?" "Not yet," Zora replied, her voice tinged with just the faintest hint of amusement. "But they're close, too close." The Galactic Union had strict rules about contacting species that had not yet discovered faster than light travel. However, humans were nearing the threshold. If they breached it, the Union would be forced to make formal contact, whether they were ready or not. Kevrin scrolled through the report on humans. They've been at war with themselves for most of their history. Their biological drive for violence is unmatched, yet they continue to build. It's like their species thrives on adversity. Zora turned to her first officer, her eyes narrowing. "The Union Council has decided it is time for us to make first contact. We've been instructed to observe, then invite them to join the Galactic Union." Kevrin nodded, though something unsettled him about this species. His instincts, honed by centuries of diplomatic missions, told him that humans were different. They weren't like the other peaceful, contemplative races that made up the Union. They were unpredictable. On Earth, deep within a fortified underground bunker, General Miriam Hayes received the signal from NASA that something unusual was happening. A massive object had entered Earth's orbit. Unlike any satellite or known technology, all indications pointed to one terrifying conclusion: extraterrestrial contact. "What do we know?" General Hayes barked, her voice calm but commanding. "They're massive, ma'am," said the head scientist, Dr. Lin, several kilometers long, "and they're just sitting there. No hostile actions so far." Hayes stood silent for a moment, absorbing the magnitude of the situation. First contact. Humanity had dreamt of this moment for centuries, but now that it was here, it felt unreal. "Send a signal, broadcast on all frequencies. Let's see if they respond." Aboard the Pax Solaris, Captain Zora's antennae twitched as the ship's communication systems buzzed with incoming transmissions. "They're trying to communicate," Kevrin observed. "Let them try," Zora said, her tone dismissive. "Activate the translation matrix." The human voice that came through the speakers was garbled at first, but the matrix quickly aligned the signals, and the words became clear. "This is General Miriam Hayes of the United States of America. You are in Earth's orbit. Please identify yourselves." "Crude," Zora muttered. She stepped forward, activating the ship's intercom. "This is Captain Zora of the Galactic Union. We represent the combined species of the known galaxy. We come in peace." There was a pause on the human side. Then, General Hayes responded, "What is your purpose here?" "We are here to observe your world and invite you into the Galactic Union. You are on the verge of technological breakthroughs that will allow you to join us in the stars." General Hayes felt a chill run down her spine. She had imagined many scenarios of alien contact, but never faced a direct offer to join an interstellar community. "We appreciate the offer, but we need more information before we can accept." Back in the bunker, the room buzzed with activity. Diplomats, military officials, and scientists scrambled to analyze the situation. Could this be a trick? Could these aliens be invaders under the guise of friendship? "Prepare the response," General Hayes ordered. "We need to be cautious." On the Pax Solaris, Kevin sensed the hesitation in the humans' reply. "They're cautious," he remarked. "Perhaps they fear us." Zora shrugged. "They are wise to be cautious, but we mean them no harm." Suddenly, an alarm blared through the ship. "Captain, we're detecting a massive energy buildup on the planet," Kevin said, his voice rising. Before Zora could respond, a massive burst of energy shot from Earth's surface, hurtling toward the Pax Solaris. The beam slammed into the ship's shields, rocking the vessel. "They've attacked us," Kevin exclaimed. "No," Zora said, her eyes narrowing. "That wasn't an attack, that was a warning shot." Kevin stared at his captain, wide-eyed. They knew they couldn't destroy us, but they wanted to show they could fight back. Zora smiled, a rare expression for her species. "Perhaps these humans are not as primitive as we thought." The Pax Solaris continued to drift above Earth, its massive, gleaming hull like a silent titan watching over the planet below. Despite the warning shot, Captain Zora remained calm, her mind racing with possibilities. The humans had shown remarkable restraint. They had aimed to destroy, only to demonstrate their capabilities. This was a species that could defend itself and one that knew how to make a statement. "Captain," Kevin said, his voice carrying an edge of disbelief. "The energy pulse they fired, it didn't come from a centralized weapon system. It appears to have been generated by a coalition of separate entities, individual nations working together. The precision of that shot was extraordinary." Zora's gaze sharpened. "So they aren't unified?" "Not in the way we expected. Humans are divided into various nations, each with its own government and military. However, in the face of our presence, they appear to have coordinated the response. They fired with a level of cooperation we've rarely seen in species not part of the Union." Zora considered this, her mind working quickly. Most species that achieved interstellar travel had long since consolidated under a single government. The fact that humans were still divided, yet could coordinate so effectively, spoke volumes about their adaptability and potential. It was as if their fractured nature was a source of strength, not weakness. "Prepare a direct diplomatic message," she ordered. "We'll invite a delegation from their world to meet with us." Kevin hesitated. "Are you sure that's wise, Captain? They've already demonstrated their willingness to use force. What if they're more aggressive in person?" Zora's mandibles twitched in amusement. "That's precisely why we must meet them. We need to understand how they think, how they act when faced with uncertainty. These humans are unpredictable, but that makes them valuable allies or dangerous enemies." In the underground bunker, General Miriam Hayes paced back and forth, her mind racing through every possible outcome. The aliens hadn't retaliated for the warning shot. That, in itself, was telling. They were powerful, but patient, intelligent. She knew that diplomacy was now their best option, but trust was hard to come by, especially with extraterrestrial beings who wielded technology far beyond their own. "Ma'am, we've received a response," Dr. Lin said, handing her a tablet. General Hayes read the message, her brow furrowed. "We invite a delegation from your world to meet aboard our ship. This is an opportunity for peaceful dialogue and cooperation. We await your response, Captain Zora of the Galactic Union." Hayes exhaled slowly. "They want to meet in person." The room fell silent. The weight of the decision pressed heavily on everyone present. This wasn't just a matter of national security. This was a moment that would shape the future of humanity itself. Trusting these aliens, whoever they were, felt like a gamble with impossible stakes. "We need a team," Hayes said, her voice decisive. "A delegation that represents not just one nation, but humanity as a whole. We'll send scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. We need to show them that while we're willing to talk, we're not naive. The decision was made quickly. The delegation would be composed of top minds from various nations, a gesture of unity in the face of the unknown. Dr. Lin, along with other scientists and diplomats, would lead the effort, but General Hayes insisted on accompanying them. This is bigger than politics, she had told her superiors. It's bigger than any one country. If things go wrong, we need to be ready for anything. 2 days later, a sleek spacecraft, Earth's most advanced, hastily adapted shuttle, departed from the planet's surface, carrying the human delegation toward the Pax Solaris. The team had prepared meticulously, with every possible outcome considered. Still, there was an unspoken tension in the air. This was humanity's first true step into the galactic unknown, and the stakes had never been higher. As they approached the alien vessel, the sheer scale of the Pax Solaris became apparent. It was like nothing they had ever seen, stretching miles in length, its metallic surface glowing with a soft, ethereal light. The ship dwarfed their shuttle, casting an imposing shadow over them as they neared the docking bay. Inside the shuttle, General Hayes stood at the front, her expression unreadable as the docking clamps engaged with a loud, metallic clank. "Let's be clear," she said, addressing the delegation. "We're here to negotiate, not to surrender. We don't know what their true intentions are, so stay sharp." The doors of the shuttle hissed open, and the humans stepped onto the alien ship. They were greeted by a contingent of tall, thin, Bianchak Sori, led by Captain Zora herself. Her sleek, iridescent exoskeleton shimmered under the artificial lighting of the docking bay, her posture regal yet relaxed. Her large, multifaceted eyes reflected the humans as they approached. "Welcome," Zora said, her voice soft but authoritative. "We are honored to meet with you in the spirit of cooperation." General Hayes stepped forward, her posture firm. "We come in the same spirit, but we have questions. Before we can discuss any form of alliance, we need to understand your intentions. Why now? Why contact us at this moment?" Zora's antennae twitched slightly, a gesture that Catherine knew meant she was intrigued. "You are on the verge of discovering faster than light travel. The Galactic Union monitors all species on the brink of such technological advances. When a species reaches this point, we extend an invitation to join the Union, to share knowledge and resources, and to ensure peace." Dr. Lin spoke up. "And what happens if a species declines your offer?" Zora's smile was almost imperceptible. "No species has ever declined." Hayes narrowed her eyes. "And if we did?" There was a pause, and for the first time, Zora seemed to measure her words carefully. "If you decline, we would respect your decision, but you must understand that the galaxy is not a safe place for those who remain isolated. There are other forces at work, far beyond your understanding, that could see your world as a threat or worse, an opportunity." General Hayes met Zora's gaze. The tension thickened in the air. "We will not be bullied, Captain. We have survived everything this planet has thrown at us. We will continue to survive, with or without your union." Zora's mandibles twitched again, this time in what could only be described as a smile. "I would expect nothing less from your kind." The room fell silent, the weight of that moment sinking in. Both sides knew this was only the beginning of something far larger than they had imagined. Back on Earth, governments watched and waited as humanity's fate hung in the balance between isolation and alliance, between fear and opportunity. Humanity's first encounter with the galaxy was no longer a question of if, it was a question of how. And how humanity chose to proceed would change the galaxy forever. This next part builds upon the tension of humanity's cautious yet bold approach to diplomacy, while showcasing their resilience and the subtle power dynamics at play with the Galactic Union. It sets the stage for the complex relationship between Earth and the galaxy beyond. There was a pause, and for the first time, Zora seemed to measure her words carefully. "If you decline, we would respect your decision, but you must understand that the galaxy is not a safe place for those who remain isolated. There are other forces at work, far beyond your understanding, that could see your world as a threat or worse, an opportunity."